Hello, it's Roger from C. Parkinson. Today I'm just going to run through the new ESi controlled programmable thermostat. This is the ESRTP4 model programmable room stat. Now, just to go through that on how to set up the time, the programs, the dates and such and so forth. We have a lift up panel on this, which allows us to get to additional controls under, but that's probably how you'll find it. Just going through the description on these buttons and what they do. This is the home button. Wherever we are in the setup and setting up functions, if we press that home button, we will return back to the home screen. The double arrows is the next button. So when we're in a function setting things up, we just press that to move to the next part of the function. We've got plus and minus buttons, which allow us while we're in the functions to change time up or down and temperature up and down. They're also used for manual override to put the temperature up. I'll show you that in a bit. Lift the cupboard up, we've got the battery cover. The LCD display is powered by two AA batteries. There will be a symbol come up flashing if the batteries are ever running low. We just need to take that cover off and change the two AA batteries in there. We have A, C and H. A is to accept any program or choice we're putting in. C is a copy button, so we can quickly go through and copy days and programs through to other days. H is holiday mode. What I'll be doing for simplicity is showing you how to set all that up in a different video. There are some further advanced features which I'll also cover in other videos. This rocker switch, slide switch at the bottom, is where we go through and start the setup. Now, on the display there, we currently have the day, the time and the date at the bottom. As you can see, if we leave it for too long, it reverts back to the home screen. A little bit too quickly for my liking, but if we press the next button, we'll go back into whichever program we're setting up. It's now flashing on the hour. We can change that, plus or minus. Next, and we can change the time, minutes, and then next we can go through changing the day, the month and the year. If we change that, you can see at the top the day corresponds with whichever day we're setting up on the month. Today is the 29th, so it correspondingly sets up on a Wednesday, so we don't need to choose the physical day of the week at the top. That's done automatically. So once we're happy with the time and the dates, we just carry on pressing that through, and as you see there, it's now set up the time at 11:18, the 29th of the 11th 2017, and we got up at the top, today is Wednesday. Now, what we've also got on that display, we've got physical room temperature in the moment is 22.5 degrees, and here we have a set temperature of 16 degrees. We've got a P2, which is telling us what the next program setting coming on is. So at P2 we are in 16 degrees. At P3 it will then come on, and whatever that set temperature is on P3 will come on then. Going to the next on the slider bar, we have the options of setting up the programs. Now, the programs, we have a choice of 3. We can go for a 7-day, which is flashing across the top to tell us we can set up individual days. We have a 5-2, which flashes between weekdays and weekends. Basically, we set up the 5 days during the week. They will all be the same. Saturday and Sunday will be the same, so 2 program settings on that. And then we move to 24-hour, which basically means that we set 1 day up and that is the same every single day of the week. So for the benefit of showing you the copy facility in a short while. We'll go to the 7-day feature, which means that we can set Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday up at one time, Thursday at a different time, so it gives a lot more flexibility. So if we press timed out, if we press that arrow again and select 7 days, we press the arrow and now we're into the program and changing the program settings. So we've got Monday program 1 coming on at 6:20 in the morning. If we wish to change that, it'll go up and down in 10-minute segments. So we want it coming on at 6 o'clock. Press next. We'll go to the temperature. We're going to say we want it at 20 degrees. We'll press next. Now it goes to P2. P2 is the off time. So we're saying that we want it to come on at 6 on the first one. We want it going off at 8:30. We're happy with that. We're saying 16 degrees. Now 16 degrees is going to be the time it goes off at 8:30. We was asking for it to be 20 degrees up until that point. At 8:30 it's going to go off, it's going to set itself at 16 degrees. Now at 16 degrees, what we're saying is we don't want the internal temperature of the house to fall below 16 degrees before it comes on next time. Now what that's just going to give us the benefit of is that the house doesn't cool down at a cold time of year well below that 16 degrees, and then it costs us a lot of gas to get it back up to our 20 degree set temperature. So if we set a lowest we want our house to get to, say factory setting on this is 16 degrees, we don't want it to fall below that, then what it just saves us is the boiler firing up on a maximum for a long time to get our temperature up to, say if it fell to 12 degrees, to get it 8 degrees back up to 20. So that's just a bottom comfort temperature. We don't want our house to fall below when the heating is off. Don't get mistaken with that and think to set it at 20. Otherwise your heating's practically going to be on all the time, because every time it falls below 20, it feels that it's getting too cold, it'll bring it back on again. So leave that set at the 16 degrees. If you feel the 16 degrees is a bit on the warm side, we go back in and go to P2 16 degrees, we say 15 degrees, and press P3, that's the time we're coming back on again. This is set up standardly for 6 time settings, 3 of which are on and 3 of which are off. P3, maintaining 16 degrees through to 4:30, where we go back up to 21 degrees. So basically from the off time at 8:30 in the morning until 4:30, it's going to maintain that 16 degrees. And then what we have set up on here, I think somebody's been altering with this clock, but it's set up at 7 degrees. And what we have set up on here, I think somebody's been altering with this clock, but it's set up at 7 degrees. So we'll bring that back up to 16 degrees. And that's Monday done. So Monday 6, 20 degrees, going off at 8:30. Sorry, I'm saying 16 degrees, comes back on at 12, but it's still only maintaining that 16 degrees, and then comes back on at 2. So basically it ignores that middle command because they're both set to what our initial off temperature was. So it does allow you the facility to go in and change P3 to being 20 degrees, and then we get a middle slot during the day which is set up to give us a third program setting. Now just running through that with a P3, P4, it comes back on at 4:30. We're saying we want it at 21 degrees, and it goes off at 10:30 at night. We're saying we don't want the temperature again to drop while we're in bed overnight. We don't want it to fall below 16 degrees. So that's Monday set up. Now if we press the accept, you'll see that we've moved to Tuesday, and we're going to change the time settings as we want on Tuesday. run through with this next button through all those time settings. However we want that setting up on Tuesday. Press accept again, we will move to Wednesday. We can run through that program again, altering any time or temperature settings on there. And basically we can run through pressing that accept button as to whichever day of the week we want to set up on those program settings. Now, if you leave that for 15 seconds, it will automatically save whatever you've done in there, and it will revert back to that home screen. Now that's going to save all the things you've done on there, and as you can see it's gone back to the home screen now. So that's now telling us we're in the time period P2, so we're waiting for P3. We're at 16 degrees. 23 degrees, we don't get a flame symbol in the corner because physically it's off at the moment due to that set temperature being 16 degrees, and we're actually above that. If it was 15 degrees in here at the moment, we would get the flame symbol. Even though we're classing this P2 as an off temperature, we're saying we don't want the house to fall below this temperature while we're away. Now, moving on to the copy facility. We're still in the program setting down here. We're back to this home screen display. If I press the home button and then C, we get a Monday and Tuesday there. One is flashing and one is static. Now if we run through and change that, the static is where we want to copy from. The flashing is where we want to copy to. To move where we want to copy to, it is moving up and down with the plus and minus. So if we want to copy Monday to Saturday, we'd move the flashing to Saturday. If we wanted to copy Monday to Friday, we'd move it to Friday. Then we press the C button. Press the C button and you just see flash up SER. That means it's copied over the program settings we've got already set up for Monday. It's copied them over to Friday now. If you want to copy those also to Saturday, move it Monday, flash into Saturday, press again, you'll see the circles up. That means we've copied Monday to Friday and Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday and Sunday, or whatever their individual settings are. So it does allow you the ability, if you've got regular days where you'll be wanting a certain time pattern, to set them up using that copy button rather than go through individually. Again, once you've waited 15 seconds, it will just revert back, auto save those copies that you've just selected and revert back to the main screen. Moving along, we have off. Now on the off, what we notably get is we get a set temperature of 5 degrees. In the off setting, it gives us a frost stat backup. So should the temperature internally fall below 5 degrees, it gives us what's known as frost stat, which brings the boiler on just to protect the house and the pipework internally from freezing. During that, we get that little frost symbol there. So that now will not come on. It's not going to listen to any of the program settings. It's physically in the off frost start. During the summer months, obviously we don't want the heating on. We just leave it in that off setting as well. During the winter period, if we've got it in the off setting, it does give us the ability of that frost start backup. Moving on to the next, on the slider switch, we have manual. Now manually on, basically we're just using the plus and minus to take the temperature up and down to whatever our desired temperature is. 26.5, to put it up quite high because it's 23.5 in here at the moment, but you can see the flame symbol come on. Flame symbol means that that starts now communicating with the boiler, telling the boiler to fire up and give us heating. That is going to maintain and keep us at 26.5 until we physically turn it off again. So manually means that it's going to be on constant. It's just going to be controlled by us physically coming to this start and turning it up and turning it down as we require. So if we turn it down to say 11 degrees, that start's now not going to come on until it falls below 11 degrees in here. So physically we've basically shut the thing off unless the temperature falls below that temperature. But do remember, if you've left it and you're leaving it at 21 degrees, you take off to work, the temperature will all day long maintain itself at 21 degrees until you physically come and turn it back off again. Some people like to work it like this, just turn it on and off as they choose. But just remember, do turn it back off again, or otherwise it's just going to keep your central heating running all the time. Next, we have the main program setting of the auto setting. Now the auto setting, we get a little auto symbol here to show that we're in the auto setting, and it tells us we're physically within program 2 at the moment, which is that set temperature of 16 degrees, and current time, current temperature. Now obviously that will change whichever program setting we are in, and so will the set time temperature. If our physical room temperature is below the set temperature, we're going to get the flame symbol, which is then meaning the stat's going to communicate with the boiler and turn the boiler and bring the radiators on. Now, another facility we have in the auto setting, if we do want to override it manually, so we come in and it's currently as it is now, it's in what we class as an off setting, we can physically override it by just pressing the plus and minus. So as you see, I've taken it above the actual room temperature at the moment. Flame symbols come on. Now what's happening up here is it toggles between the actual time it currently is now, and what it's showing us there is time to the next on or off event. So we've basically done a temporary override, a temporary manual override, saying we want the heating on, but our next setting is going to be in 23 minutes. So in 23 minutes, it's going to cancel that override we've just done, and it is going to revert back to the program. Now, we do also have a different way of overriding this. That's just a temporary override. If we physically press the A while we're in the auto setting, it will come up with the symbol AL. Now, what AL stands for is all day. So that is an all day override. So basically until midnight tonight, it will override and keep us at that 24.5 degrees that we've just set up. So off, we're down at 21 degrees, but we still got the AL symbol. We've got that AL symbol. When the temperature in here falls below, it's just going to maintain that 21 degrees. It's going to ignore the other on and off commands in between. 12 o'clock midnight, it's going to revert back to your programmed auto settings. To get off of that AL, we just press the A button again. So as you can see, it's reverted back to the auto. We're then waiting for that temperature to fall below 16 degrees before it physically fire up. So we have a quick means of overriding, which will take us as a temporary, and it will flash and tell us how long that's going to be for. So 22 minutes before our next on setting. So say you get home, fortunate enough to get home a little early, the heating's not on, you can turn it on before it comes on the program settings. 21 minutes, it will just revert back to its program settings. If you want that to be more permanent, you're just pressing the A button in the auto setting, and we get the all day override. So we're overriding that all day until 12 midnight to 25.5 degrees. 23.5 degrees at the moment, so we get the flame symbol telling the boiler to fire up and give us hot radiators and make us nice and warm. Okay, well, hopefully that just helped out understanding this time clock a little bit better. What I'm going to do is there are a couple more advanced features on this particular programmable stat. I'm gonna put those in a couple of separate videos, so if you want to look through the YouTube channel, you will find a couple of extra videos over the next couple of weeks going on there, just explaining those extra features. So hopefully this helped you understand and how best to work this stat and set it up. Please take a look at our website, which is www.cparkinson.com. There's some helpful videos on there on how to work things. Thank you very much. Bye.